Hallo. Ich habe einfach mal den Stream gestartet. I just started the stream to check it out if things are working. And I'm up against Ophelia. At least it's the account of Ophelia. Okay, I need to either sack this guy or to make it huge to not allow this. If I make it huge, I have the Nexus, but I don't think it's lethal. But the Nexus is probably lethal with the Ravager. It's already 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and I have an Ensoul artifact. Yeah, so I think the easiest way is to just sack the Overseer. As always, let me know if everything is working. Let me know if you can hear me. Let me know if there's enough frames per second, glitches, whatever. I'm also planning to put the game chat or game text up where Nissa is right now, but I didn't have time to set that up, so you'll have to wait for that. Alright, so I think it's absolutely lethal. Yeah, I don't even have to do the math, I think. So I'm one up against some kind of blue moon deck, I guess. It's not the easiest matchup. On the other hand, I'm super fast and they are pretty slow. Shackles is very good against me. I'm not sure about anything else. I don't think I want Spellskite. I mean, this could be some crazy Patrick Dickmann special, but I have no idea about that, so... my main deck, you can see right here, it's a very straightforward version that doesn't run any 3-drops anymore. I just want the Ensoul artifacts, which are basically my 3-drops, and because I have the full 4 Mem Knights and all the cheap things, Thoughtcast should be rather easy to cast. Now if this is control, I want Thoughtseize, but I really don't know what I have to expect against this kind of blue moon shenanigans. Blue doesn't really have the best counters, hard counters against Affinity, so that's a good sign. Ensoul Artifact might not be at its best, and Ancient Grudge can be really good or pretty bad, depending on how the game plan looks like. In a sense, Vidagon Shackles is almost too slow against me. Of course it wins the late game, but it's not really a card I'm super scared of. So the real question is, how easily can they deal with the Ensoul artifact? I think that's the craziest question. Yeah, I don't want to lose my explosiveness. I think for this game where I don't know what I'm up against exactly, I'm gonna try not to overdo on the boarding, to not try to overboard. Mem Knight seems perfectly fine, perfectly reasonable against him. Yeah, I think I'm just forcing him to show me something good first. And I'm not super scared of Shackles, so. Yeah, it's very possible that there's Grudge, but you can't really sideboard cards against Grudge. I mean, you can just try to play your best cards, basically. Now this is a good card against me. Clearly a nice answer. And I wasn't expecting this from Blue Moon, so might be just a different version or a different build. Serum Visions, kill my Vault Scourge, I play an Overseer. Not perfect, but my hand is still fine. Not killing the Vault Scourge here is pretty smart, because now if I play the Overseer, he just kills the Overseer, which is much better for him. But I don't see an alternative. Playing single pass is super weak. Wow, no activation? Is that a Snapcaster? Doesn't make any sense. Oh, maybe an Electrolyze. If my opponent has Electrolyze as well, then yeah. Alright. Time to draw Ensoul Artifact. Spell Pierce, that would have been a lot better earlier. So now the Overseer dies to the Lava Mancer activation, so I'll try to bait that out. Not that it's super likely that I'm now winning, but I can still draw into Thoughtcast. Arcmon Ravager would be good. And it looks like my opponent's deck is a lot more twinny than I thought. Should have suspected with that player. Alright, let's draw some cards. I mean, this is running into Cryptic, but I have Spell Pierce up, so... Ghost Fireblade. I don't know what that does without checking, basically. My opponent even has 2 activations. Yeah, this Lavamancer is a pain. I'm running into a second Electrolyze here, even though I have Spell Pierce in my hand. But I couldn't keep up the blue, and I wanted to draw the extra cards. Awesome. So now my game plan has to be to draw into Ensoul Artifact and to protect it with the one Thoughtcast that I'm going to have. I could have held back everything until I draw a Ravager. Maybe that would have been smarter. But it's not like my opponent is not doing anything. Yeah, as we can see. There's the Ravager at least, so... Oh. I want the Ravager in play. I'm not sure about the Overseer yet. And I would have wanted to see if I draw into Ensoul Artifact, but now... Okay, let's use our Spell Pierce then. I mean, Ravager is kind of the most important card now. It's the only card that really can get me out of this. I feel like I'm just running headlong into what my opponent has planned here, but don't think that there is much I can do about it. There's such a high chance that there is another bolt or something waiting for me. Yeah, I can concede this. Not winning. So now I know at least that there is the Lavamancer to think about. I didn't see any more artifacts. Relic is looking better to make the Lavamancer weaker and to make Tarmogoyf small. And Spell Pierce is amazing because of the threat of Electrolyze. But also, now that I'm on the play, the Overseers are not just going to die to Electrolyze, which is very important. It didn't look like my opponent had specific Ensoul Artifact height with, well, a few spell snares maybe, but that's not a main concern. So some less card draw and the 4th Ensoul Artifact. I don't want to have the reactive cards if I don't absolutely have to, and I don't want to board in like a removal spell for a Lavaman, so that just doesn't seem like what this deck wants to be doing. Just be as aggressive as possible. And I will try to play around the removal spells my opponent showed me. I don't know if I made that mistake, MTGO Moonstorm, but I thought that when I sacrifice a permanent, usually the trigger just goes on the stack. So this is an absolutely do-nothing hand. It has the potential to draw into Ensoul Artifact, but it doesn't do anything on its own, so I'm going to mulligan. And this hand would be nice, but is missing a couple of mana sources, so I have to go down to 5. Oh boy. Well, I'm keeping this. Not much I can do. Once again, a hand that just rolls over to Electrolyze. But with a mulligan to 5, I don't think I have a choice. I'm not sure if this is really a twin deck. That's the main point. And even if it is, after boarding, there might not be that many twin pieces left. So any kind of mana source would be great. Thoughtcast is great. I have a lot of great draws. And this didn't work out that well. But at least if I draw a land next turn, then I'm live. Overseer is a lot worse now because of Electrolyze, so I'll have to see about that. Delver. Yeah, this is not a twin deck. I don't know what it is, but it's not a twin deck. Flame Slash. Well, not much I can do here. It looks like my opponent really wants to starve me out of artifacts, but I was scared of the Delver. I didn't want the Delver to stick around. Alright. So now I have to draw a land into Drum. Not great, clearly. Yeah, trading the Memnite also was better against Electrolyze. I don't feel too bad. Like, I kept a 5-lander with a Mox, and I've cast a Thoughtcast as well. But there just wasn't anything. And if I had drawn a mana source of the Thoughtcast, I think I would have been in great shape. I don't think that this deck needs Galvanic Blast. I like how I'm still doing something here. This Insecta Aberration is putting on a lot of pressure, but I probably don't have the time to beat it in a fair fight. Now, I would love to put Ensoul Artifact on Darksteel Citadel, but I don't have the mana. And if I play Steel Overseer, I think I'm just losing to anything my opponent has. Oh wait, there's even an Ancient Grudge in the graveyard. Well, then I can't play it that way. Then I have to play it this way. Could have also played the plating, but that's not a big difference, I think. I feel like I could have won this matchup, but it was more difficult after boarding, and I didn't exactly know what my opponent was up to. Against this like super removal deck after boarding, I probably have to bring in the Spells Guides. But even then, it's just difficult to beat if my opponent has the Electrolyze draw on the play, and then the mulligan to 5 with not a good development afterwards did kind of get me. So yeah, that was quick. I will have time to join another queue, and that's going to be an M15 draft. Alright, so let's see, I'll try this for now. I have this chat, which you can now see there, and it's actually not supposed to be above there. I'm trying to remember how I did this last time, so this is kind of weird. I think I need to edit this. I hope I can do this while working on here. Let's try this maybe. Okay. So if Nissa goes away, wow. What's this? No, that didn't work at all. Alright, Nissa, come back. Next try. I think I had to actually press a button there. Let's see that the draft doesn't start without me. So this is color sorted. The rare is Urborg, then there's Kurt Chieftain, Jace's Ingenuity, and Wall of Mulch. All of which are good uncommons. Wall of Mulch not necessarily your first pick, but still. So there's Raise the Alarm, Flesh to Dust, and the uncommons to choose from. I like Kurt Chieftain for the raw power. Raise the Alarm is great, Flesh to Dust is great, and Jace's Ingenuity is well, it's great if you get to cast it, but you don't always get that luxury. I think you can pretty much pick anything out of this pack and not be super unhappy about it. It's also not a pack where I'm concerned about the signals. I want to go for the most power level, and I think that Kurt Chieftain does that. And that pack has a Borderland Marauder, which is great for my plan of attacking. Maybe I can wheel some of the green-red cards. Carrion Crow is fine, but no reason not to pick a red card here. Yeah, Jace's Ingenuity is a great card. It's just, like, blue is not superb in this format, and it is a 5-mana instant. You can build a deck around it. That's a pretty nice part of it. So let's see if I can get this to work. So this is the chat thing, and I will have to try to crop this. Maybe like this. Aggressive mining for aggressiveness. And there is Netcaster Spider here, but the red cards are also very good. Inferno Fist, I think, is just a very good red card. It's impressed me whenever I've played it. And Netcaster Spider is great in green, but a bit more defensive. I like Inferno Fist sufficiently to just stick to red. I think this is developing nicely. So yeah, sorry about the card size. So now I actually have to do this when drafting because my setup is made for the constructed portion. So this would be how it looks like when drafting. Thank you for that. Let's see what happens if I remove the Nissa. All right, this is close. Not really what I want, but yeah, maybe I'll get it to work sooner or later. Now here, if I just want to stick to red cards, Crowd's Favor and Hammerhand are fine. Those aren't amazing. I'm gonna take Elvish Mystic here. I'm kind of forcing red-green after the Chieftain, but yeah, I don't really care. Siege Worm for the late game, or maybe a well, there's Frenzied Goblin, Shaman of Spring. Frenzied Goblin is quite good, but there's so many cheap creatures that it sometimes just doesn't do its job. Yeah, I think you just pick a Siege Worm here so that your late game is already great. Okay, yeah, I don't think I can edit this the way I want to while I'm streaming, which kind of makes sense. So I can probably move this to the top. I'll try this. I love Generator Servant. I think it's better than Meteorite and anything else here. Let's go crazy a little bit. So this is what I currently have, which of course is not what you're supposed to see. You're supposed to see this bit, pretty much like this. And like this. Like this. Then I move it over here. I think we'll soon have it. The Chain Veil. I can hate draft the Ensoul artifact because somebody is assembling the combo, but I want people to be able to do that, so I'm not trying to ruin their fun. So what do we say about this? Foundry Street Denizen, not the biggest fan of. Hot Soup is fine. Yeah, it's still the Denizen here. Second Hammerhand, sure, why not? Alright, this OBS thing is... I'm definitely not good enough with this yet. I basically switched from XSplit, and I knew what to do in XSplit, but I don't know what to do here. So the idea is that you get the chat here, and it should be awesome. Mindveft is pretty sweet with Broodkeeper, if you can get it. So, back to this. I think we almost have it. Alright, and now I move this to the bottom, I disable Nissa, and we have the chat. Which doesn't show anything important, but at least I figured it out. Alright guys, what do I take here? There is Juggernaut, but there's particularly Lightning Strike and Soul of Chandler. I guess we just try to Soul, right? It's a mythic rare. It's easy to just take the Soul, slam the Soul, but you could think about Lightning Strike for curve considerations. But I have an Elvish Mystic already, and I mean, this card is just insane. Yeah, I'll take the 6-drop. I mean, we're not here to make rational picks, and I'm not even sure if this is irrational or not. Crowd's Favor is fine, but Undergrowth Scavenger might be the pick, just to have the pretty stupid green-red deck, where the Scavenger is another fatty on the ground. I don't like the Death Touch Sliver, really. The Death Touch Sliver has been very mediocre in my experience. Okay, so if you move the chat thing, then your draft disappears. All right. I'm aware that untapping with any soul is pretty good. It's just there's Pillar of Light, there's Flesh to Dust. There's a lot of things that can happen to a soul, and that then there's also like the problem that there's games where you don't reach 6 mana at all. I got this email from Wizards. Your MTGO Summary and Goblin Rough Rider was one of my most overrated comments or overrated cards in M15, which I found kind of funny. I mean, it's a 3-2 for 3. Leadcastle Spider is better than the red cards. I like Rummaging Goblin, but only in very specific decks, and this isn't a deck for it. Leadcastle Spider is incredible, and having some more green cards will actually be better for my curve as well. Wayfinder, similarly, is a great card in a lot of decks, but in this one, I don't really want the effect, except for the Scavenger maybe, but Living Totem is a lot more threatening for my opponents. If you don't like it, you can always close the stream. So, Reclamation Sage or Hunt the Weak? Always happy to have a Hunt the Weak in my deck, but Reclamation Sage is another great way of getting some value. Yeah, and an attacker. I think that makes it better. I think that my Reckless attacking will force enough trades already. I don't usually do all that much reckless attacking, but with this deck, it looks to be the plan. Do I really need removal? I don't know. I'm actually not sure if that's true. I have a pretty good curve which forces my opponents to trade. I have an Inferno Fist, I have a Titanic Growth, I have a Crit Chieftain, a Soul of Chandler, a Siege Worm, so there's just not that much on the ground that can happen to me, and playing against a deck with a lot of evasion and then trying to 1-for-1 them out with the removal spells doesn't really work in this format, especially when there's cards like Triplicate Spirits to consider. I think Undergrowth Scavenger is an incredible card in green-black, and a great card in a deck where you are willing to just throw your creatures into combat, even if it means losing some. And then there's decks like blue-green or white-green with a lot of tokens for defenders. Hey Bara, nice to see you here. And then I don't like it at all. I think then Undergrowth Scavenger is almost unplayable. So what I did today is I lowered the bitrate significantly on this stream, and it seems to be working a lot better. So this is an interesting question. Does my deck actually beat Triplicate Spirits? Now, I can't just say, yeah, sure, it's definitely going to beat Triplicate Spirits. I mean, that's just not the case. But I think that my deck forces trades, and forcing trades is the first step to beating Triplicate Spirits. Like, you aren't only trying to beat the card once it's resolved, but if I got crushed in Modern, and like forcing all these trades beginning on turn 1, 2, 3 will mean that Triplicate Spirits is much closer to a 6-drop than like a 4-drop, which makes it super scary. It also devaluates cards like Sanctified Charge. And all that in conjunction means that yes, this deck can definitely beat Triplicate Spirits. It probably can't beat a Spectre Ward, but hey, what can you do? So, I think we really should have won the Modern match. It was probably my fault. I can't do anything about the mulligans. Those were forced, but could have sideboarded better for game 2, and maybe if I had known what to expect, could have also played better. Yeah, I actually like this deck quite a lot here. So this looks good. Yeah, more Generator Servant. One of the key cards for this deck, clearly. I mean, it's great with all my 4, 6, and 7 drops, and I'm almost never unhappy to have it. It's not really card disadvantage if you get a haste creature out of the deal. So I think that's a pretty sweet. Forge Devil I would like to have, but I think Inferno Fist is so much better that I have to take it. This deck could make good use of a Forge Devil. It's not out of the question to take it here. I don't even want to play most of my 1-drops, but the Forge Devil is always a card I'm scared of when I'm playing against red. Yeah, given that I have the Undergrowth Scavenger, I think Forge Devil is better because I already have 1 fist. I have no idea. It doesn't look like a constructed playable card to me. Generator Servant, I don't know. What do you want to do with it? Like, in Constructed, you can expect your opponents to be able to deal with any creatures you play. So maybe if you can play like some huge hexproof monster with it, that sounds okay-ish. What is going on? I'm just gonna take it, even though my curve could use a 1-drop. But I'll take the 3rd Curd Chieftain. I've learned how to pronounce that. Chieftain. So, I think there's a Vintage Super League later today. I don't know when it starts. Jeez. Does this deck beat Triplicate Spirits? I think it does. I think it does pretty well. Yeah, this is like not the card I want. Like, 3rd Scavenger is not gonna make it, not with the 4-drops I already have. Tyrant's Machine I pretty much never play. I'm just gonna pass it, I don't care for it. Shaman of Spring, another 4-drop. Hot Soup. Not a fan of Hot Soup. At least not in draft. I could actually pick Thundering Giant. Like I said that I have a lot of 4-drops, but having a 5-drop is not bad. Or it would be the Foundry Street Denizen to get more creatures into the yard quickly. And they also work pretty nicely with ways to pump them. Thundering Giant is expensive. It just fits the strategy. I like it. I don't want another 4, so I'm taking that. This is a great naturalize, pretty nice pickup. Probably should have taken the Tyrant's Machine, now that I think about it, because I could have brought it in against the Spectral Ward, so that was a mistake. I didn't think about that. Misplay. Need to wheel it. There it is. So now I even have some protection against the Spectral Ward. So how many people are watching? Can you tell me, or do I have to check myself? My desktops are already overloaded with stuff. Just for you. This deck actually turned out a bit too well. There's far too many playables. Far too many playables. 81. That's not sufficient. I'll have to tweet more. I actually didn't check who else was streaming, so I'm probably in competition with somebody much more famous and much more regular when it comes to streaming. So the strategy of this deck is to play as many creatures as humanly possible and to hit the opponent over the head with these creatures. Yep, that's the strategy. So Foundry State Denizen is not amazing. It does force early trades, which is why I like it. It's probably the weakest card in this deck. And yeah, if Kenji is streaming, then I can't expect to have too many viewers. I usually try not to like stream when there's good alternatives, but I also can't always choose the times when I have actually have time to stream. So I just figured with the Modern Daily starting, which I wanted to play anyway, I would go for it. I probably don't need 22 creatures. Yeah, maybe I can cut the Rough Rider and the Foundry Street Denizen. That would be the weakest creatures, I think. And then my curve is still a bit heavy on the 4, but the Totem actually casts for 3 with the amount of 1-drops I have. And then it's looking fine, because my 4-drop's also super powerful. And I like the Thundering Giant to have a bit more power. I don't think I need any kind of non-creature spells for game 1. This looks like a 9/8 to me. Really no reason to skew the distribution. I want the mana for Elvish Mystic. I also want the Forest whenever I draw a Kurt Chieftain. Could actually play 18 lands in this deck because it's pretty much impossible to be flooded. But I already have the Elvish Mystic and the 2 Generator Servants, so fine. I mean, Scavengers are not only a combo card, right? It's kind of like a 4-drop that's also a 7-drop or 8-drop in power level when the game goes longer. And this is a 20 creatures deck that will drag opponent's creatures down as well. It's just, how is it going to work any other way? And then I expect the Scavenger to be a 4-mana 4/4, 4-mana 5/5, 4-mana 6/6 a lot of the times. So I don't know what else you want from a 4-drop. You could make a case for playing another spell, another non-creature, to have a bit more answer potential. But for game 1, I really like it. How do we do it? I don't know. You just first pick one and then you open one more and get past another one? Or did I first pick? No, I don't think I first picked 3 of them. It's my first time with 3 card chieftains as well, but I did have to first pick the Soul of Chandalar, so. Hello, Magus of the Moon. I'm only playing basics, so I'm not affected by you. Yeah, 1 Ranger Skull sounds like a solid inclusion. You could definitely run that. Like, that's the point where I would probably have to cut Undergrowth Scavenger for it. Yeah, I think I'm fine. Yeah, just what I said, Banner. I guess that would be a good change. Having 1 less Scavenger is a bit sad, but Ranger Skull also works really well with my high drops. Let's try it. I don't have round times here, but I think the Modern Daily is still going. Yeah, I even have the forest count, so it's not really a big deal. I think that's the other alternative, to play the Rough Rider. It's not entirely necessary, I think. Not with the 2 Belligerent Slivers, they're already 3 mana 2/2s. Just playing a random 3 mana 3/2 is not going to make this deck a lot better on average. I think the main reason for cutting the Scavenger is the curve. If I didn't have all the Kurt Chieftains, then I would definitely run all 3 Scavengers in this deck. Okay, yeah, I'm not too concerned. Khan's limited? I mean, we have Shards of Alara limited as a baseline. There's going to be Obelisks as well, and people usually flood it with those, but now you can cycle them for mana, for another card. There's good mana fixing, a whole recluse cycle, 10 recluses with different names. And morphs also prevent awkward flooding or being color screwed. You can always drop them for 3 mana, and you still, well, you don't lose all your late game potential. You can actually overload on expensive cards. So the one thing that I think is going to be critical is that the power level is going to be super high. And with the high power level, there comes the question of, like, do you just try to one-up your opponent? Like, you have this axis where the power increases, but at some point the consistency of the decks just drops. And if you escalate this further and further, at some point you'll get beaten by decks that are less consistent but more powerful. But there is no good way for you to salvage that, because if you want to one-up your opponent, then your deck becomes even less consistent, which is not what you want to be doing if you are the better player. So there has to be this sweet spot where it's possible to actually assess how powerful your opponent's deck is and exactly where you want to be, and there have to be other alternatives than just escalating this, if that made any sense. So let me do a bit of sorting here. This is going to be the Affinity. Yes, that's definitely going to be the key in a 3-color format. I guess it's kind of obvious, but it doesn't hurt to explain this. In theory, I could like hold back Ornithopters here, but I don't see a reason to. This draw would have been a lot better with Darksteel Citadel. turn 2, 5-5, like the one my opponent has here. My draw is not great against Affinity, I think, because even if I have the Ensoul, I can't answer most of my opponent's good cards in the matchup. It almost feels like I have to wait for that. So the problem remains that if my opponent makes the Vault Scourge a 5-5 with his Ensoul artifact, or just drops a good 2-drop, then the Ensoul artifact plan is most likely going to be too slow. I could also Ensoul an Ornithopter, because that gives me the fastest clock. And it might actually be better to do that. And then I still drop the Darksteel Citadel and hope that I can still draw into more Ensoul artifacts. That's basically what the plan is then. Yeah, I think I have to. I can't afford to skip a turn here. That way we'll get to see what's going on. This hand is really nice. Opponent not dropping anything is kind of sad. So what's my opponent's 2-drop? If it's Steel Overseer, I think I played correctly, just putting on as much pressure as possible. If it's not a good 2-drop at all, then it's even better. Okay, Thoughtcast is fine. Krenko's Enforcer is pretty bad against me. So I have the Generator Servant to power out a 4/4 Chieftain. If I draw a land, I have the mana for Soul of Chandelar. But I would skip my turn here, and I don't want to skip my turn. And one of the main reasons here is that I also get to hold up Ranger Skull, so there isn't much that can happen to me. Steel Overseer on my part is a very lucky draw. Very, very fortunate draw. It's kind of the key to the matchup, so... This is a very early chump block. I don't like that from my opponent. Don't think that was intentional. Opponent didn't tap for mana first. Could have played Inferno Fist because I have the Ranger Skull. Okay, this looks like a chump block. Okay, Steel Overseer after mine. Then the chump block makes even less sense. That's just really weird. I'm not gonna play the Inferno Fist. I don't want to trade 2 for 1 against the Enforcer. I have 6'd. God. That was super stupid. Now I threw away my creature for no reason, when I had 2 spells to save it. Yeah, I'm completely stupid, and I'm losing the game because of it. Yeah, so much for my concentration level. So punished. Punished so badly. No, it's you control. Ranger's Guard doesn't work that way. Could have held back the Forge Devil to get something going, but yeah, I don't think that makes any sense. This game is pretty much over. I mean, it was just really stupid by me, and the Spectre Ward is still a problem with double Lightning Strike, but I mean, I have this spell to save my creature, and I just didn't use it, so that was super stupid. Alright, I still like my chances. I just have to focus, and then things should work out. I think my deck is incredible. So can cut the Thundering Giant or even the Siege Worm, I think. I'll actually cut this. A bit clunky. I'll keep this. Yeah, that deck looks super sweet. I think it's actually phenomenal. It's not the hand that I want to see, but I also don't think I can mulligan with 3 Chieftains in my deck. I'm pretty much guaranteed to be able to use excess mana in this kind of deck, and I lost also because I never drew my 4th land. This looks like a really good Forge Devil here. I held back the Nexus to be safe from any kind of infect shenanigans. If my opponent had an Arcbone Ravager, I need to be able to chump block to prevent the poison kill. Another Forged Devil, so I can block here. Yeah, that's probably smart. And now, for example, the Undergrowth Scavenger, which I boarded out, would already be a 4/4 on turn 4. All right. This could get lightning struck. Kind of funny. Ensoul Artifact is sometimes amazing in the mirror and sometimes it's really bad. But because Signal Pass is even worse, you can't really board it out. What you can do is bring in like one Dismember for one Ensoul, which I think is a solid decision. Could even bring both Dismembers, because with now that Ensoul is in the matchup, it's also part of the matchup. It's actually quite good. Maybe I'll just bring in the other one for Memnite. Looks good. I think this matchup is heavily favoring versions with Thoughtcast. The mirror just in general is. And that's when I open a hand that looks like this. Yeah, I was just saying, I hope I'm not losing to Krenko's Enforcer here. So I'm up one game and I have a Dismember. I have 2 Thoughtcasts, but no way to cast them. Yeah, this is a mulligan. This looks better. Not great, but better. Maybe bringing in both Dismembers was a bit too much. Okay, so my opponent is representing another Lightning Strike. I'll respect it. This is interesting. Like, if my opponent had the Exile spell, I think he would have used it. He would have just... Yeah, I'm going to attack here. Whoa. Whoa, whoa, whoa. This is actually quite good for me, I think. Because there is a pretty good chance that my opponent is out of gas after this. So this Dismember could be worth a tremendous amount. That's good. Dealing 6 here. If my opponent has no place, it's even better. Yeah, good. So, does my opponent have another 2-drop? Is the question here. Doesn't look like it. Yes, I will. My opponent is keeping in Signal Pest in the mirror, which I think is horrible. Which I think is really horrible. Don't think you can do that. So I'm just debating what to play here. I don't think I need the island. No, it should be fine like this. I'm sitting here with the slowest draw ever. But single pass can't attack into a manland. So now Spectre Ward comes down. I have the Reclamation Sage. My opponent is most likely going to stay back with the protection creature. And oh no, it's Inferno Fist. Interesting. So does my opponent already have the Spectral Ward? Possible. Very interesting. My opponent only has 2 red sources, so it's very unlikely that the Inferno Fist just kills my Court Chieftain. I'm going to continue with my plan, and that plan is to just win next turn. So this is actually 6 with Trample, but if I have to cast Reclamation Sage and Pump, I'm missing the last point of damage. So what I would have to do is to cast Crowd's Favor here, but that seems super reckless. I can't do that. And I can still draw lands, so it's not horrible or anything. If my opponent has a Galvanic Blast here, then I'm probably losing. Spectre Ward. Signal pass in the mirror. What I could have done was play Mox Opal last turn, so that I would have an artifact to enchant with Ensoul Artifact. That would have actually been better. So my opponent realized that Signal Pass is not a great attacker. I could Ensoul Artifact the Vault Scourge immediately, but I have to be aware of cards like Ancient Grudge existing. So now the interesting part begins. How does my opponent play this? It's kind of difficult for my opponent to attack with the Enforcer, so I think my opponent made the right play here. It's just that I'm punishing this. I played this game better than game 1, if you were wondering. Okay, we have a game. We have a game. Interesting again. So I left open Inkmoth rather than Blinkmoth. I don't know if that is going to turn out to be a mistake. Yeah, this is bad. Obviously, very bad. With the instant equip of the plating, I don't really have good blocks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So the plating instant equips now and then later. So I kind of have to top deck Ancient Grudge to have a chance. If I do that, it's looking pretty nice, I would say. So I should probably prepare for that to happen. I think that I can make this block safely, and that my opponent is very unlikely to kill my Ink Moth for the cost of not dealing a ton of damage. Or in other words, I'm willing to make that exchange if that's what my opponent wants. All right. Hi, Alexios. Magic the double queuing. I'm not Meddling Mage, no. No, Meddling Mage is... I wanted to say a lot older than me, but it's probably not a nice way to put it. Okay, my opponent opts to not deal 7 to me, which would leave me pretty much dead on board. I'll take what I get here. So, Ensoul Artifact is not going to win me this game, but I kind of have to... oh, I'm out of 3 artifacts. Even worse. So, tapping one of these... yeah, that's not a good plan. Nope, I'm just gonna pass. I don't think I'm winning this. This hand is awful. This hand is also pretty awful. Keeping because of the naturalize is actually pretty important in this matchup, and I have a play, at least. So this is a 2-2. Yeah, the plating is probably just not beatable for me. Behind me are binders, yes. Don't think that Ink Moth is lethal, which is good. So my opponent can re-equip at will, and this one can still pump a creature. So I have the chance to kill the 1/2 Ornithopter, which is some nice value, I guess. Or am I dead, actually? I thought that this was +7, but it might be +8 because of the -1/-1 counter. It's not that it really matters because I'm pretty much dead, if that's the case. I mean, I could block differently, but then I'm taking too much damage, so... yeah. Fine. There it is, the good Rough Rider, and I'm defenseless. I really need to draw a forest, like a forest or another cheap play to trade with the Rough Rider. That would be optimal. So my opponent keeps in signal passed, which I don't agree with, but what can you do? Mountain is kind of the worst draw, but my opponent's turn 4 play was a Torch Fiend, so that makes it a lot better. Right, I'm keeping this. Pretty easy keep. Overseer and Ravager are super good in the mirror. Okay, what is this? An offer to trade? I'll take it. There's the forest. So here I have to attack with a giant, otherwise my hand is just dead. And it's already pretty weak to a lightning strike as it is, but I can't ever trade it for a Rough Rider. Okay, is this a chump block? No. Okay, I would have been very surprised. Alright, this hand is actually great. I get to Thoughtcast very early. Very early on. Do I need the Infernal Fist here? Yes, I do. Well, actually Generator Servant would have done the same. Trading for the Rough Rider, that is. So I might actually want to attack here. That's super greedy. Attack for 6. It's not out of the question. Especially with the Generator Servant even giving me haste potentially. I think this attack is doable. Like, I'm risking a lot, but that's how I roll. There's a small argument to be made for just casting the Ravager first so that you have something to sacrifice, but forcing your opponent to answer the Steel Overseer ASAP is actually what counts. Okay, Forge Devil is a bad start to my plan. Very bad start. I thought that I had a chance to raise my opponent by playing it this way, but I should have played around Forge Devil, because now I'm taking too much damage. I figured that I would be dead against removal anyway, so I thought I would not play around it. I think my opponent has to chump block here, so I'm attacking with the giant. If the opponent takes this, he has Nerves of Steel. So I currently don't have anything to tap the drum with, so I can't... If my opponent doesn't have anything, there might be no attacks. Okay. Now I think there's just no way my opponent is beating this. It's just pretty much impossible to do so. With another Overseer and a Spell Sky to protect them. Like, my opponent can try to raise me in the air, but I even have all the man lands in the world, so don't think anything is happening here. I will hold back the Mem Knight one turn, because if I get to live, I've pretty much won, so. And this game is somehow over. I played greedily and I got punished. I think that summarizes it. Also, my hand was of course pretty bad, so I think it was right to take some chances, but the attack with the giant was just not necessary. I figured that if my opponent has a lightning strike, which is the worst case scenario for me, then it might actually be better to have the Generator Servant in play. Should not have lost this match. The irony of drawing a Forged Devil. Yep, good job on my opponent's part. Not such a good job on my part. I don't think I should have lost. So I can drop from this event. There's 32 minutes. So the whole double queuing thing didn't work out too well. I think this is not going to take too long. And this is one of the big problems with streaming. With the new client, I think, is what do you actually do in all the downtime? Like, no, there was downtime previously. It's just that the new client is also tougher on the PC. So I'm kind of wondering what to do when double queuing doesn't sound like a smart idea. Oh, what I can actually do is play non-tournament formats. So tournament practice with Vintage Doomsday. I'm sure you'll like that. Yeah, I don't love playing Hearthstone. It's, I don't know. I like the game. I think it's a good game, but when I'm streaming Magic, I don't want to dilute this, if that makes any sense. So I'm on the draw, which is bad, but my hand is great, so I'm keeping. This is the deck that Steven Menendian is playing in the Vintage Super League. Not bad. Now it would be good to have a force. Don't have one. So yeah, the resolves. I don't have many ways to beat an active Jace in this deck. I pretty much can only try to combo off faster. Whoa. Is your last card a force? Or a mental misstep? No. Okay, there's the Doomsday, which is good. That means that I'm not too far off from going for it. My opponent will probably have a counterspell, and I probably just want to time walk. Yeah. Don't think I need to show the Lotus. Might get discarded, that would be awful. But I have no clue what I'm doing anyway, so. Brainstorm, 3 new, and fetch available. I might just Mystical for Gush, so that I can time walk and then untap into Gush. I would love to have the time to Merchant Squall as well, but I don't think I'll have. Is that deck Faden? So, given that that's deck Faden, I'm very happy that I didn't play the Lotus. Opponent might even draw 2, discard 2, yeah. I might get lucky here. The Mystical could now get misstepped if my opponent kept that, but then at least I know that there's no force coming. Oh wait, let's see. I can actually give you the chat again, hopefully, somehow. So, how's that? You get to see what my opponent is doing. Isn't that nice? Kind of like this, maybe. So I'm getting a gush here. Opponent didn't counter, so probably not a... No, this is just a casual game. Casual game of Vintage. I could actually get the tropical here if I draw into fast bond. So if my opponent has a force, I think he forces this time walk already. And then I probably wouldn't have been able to win. I'm rather sure that my opponent neither has a force nor a what's it called? Neither has a force nor a mental misstep. It could still be there, but I think it's a lot less likely now. So let's cast the Black Lotus. Sack it for black. I will now Doomsday. Opponent has the force, and I top deck the force. I hope I don't mess this up. It's always kind of embarrassing. So I draw 2 cards, and one of them is going to be the recall, and then I draw the rest of my deck with the recall itself. And that means I need to, for example, draw the petal and the recall. Could make a black with Underground Sea, I don't think it matters. And now it appears like I'm some kind of vintage master. Which I'm certainly not. Yeah, I've basically no clue either. I just go with the flow. Hey, my opponent said that he wanted to put the deck together myself. Whew. It's not the easiest deck to play. I'll give you that. So deck Faden something Jace turn 1 dot deck. Yeah, I was very fortunate there. So I've very little idea of how to sideboard in this matchup. Most cards seem pretty good, so I don't really want to lose them. I'm bringing into the two Zented Swarms. If my opponent is just playing with mana drains as well, it becomes kind of difficult. I don't know if I need the misdirection, but if my opponent has the Pyroblast, that's going to be good as well. I don't think I need the Forest. The last card to cut is I'm not really sure about. I think I want the two Swarms. They seem pretty sweet. I sometimes take out a tutor because yeah, if your opponent is outvaluing you, then the tutor can be a problem. It doesn't feel correct though. It feels kind of awkward to play with one less tutor in the deck. I'm not the expert on the deck, so I'm just trying out stuff. Scroll is sometimes Scroll is the better tutor. That's kind of the. Alright, this hand is pretty sweet. Even if my opponent has a turn 1 Walker again, I have the Force now. And I have the Thoughtseize, which is quite valuable. I would go, but I won't have time for the PDQ in Cologne. I can't quite remember what it was, but I think I'm in the Netherlands. Oh, I almost F6. That would have been fatal. Oh, this is sweet. No place. I would love to have a mental misstep, but I mean, I can't complain at all. This hand is incredible if my opponent draws a land. This hand is just phenomenal if my opponent draws a land. So my opponent doesn't have any protection right now, which means that I could go for a pretty aggressive Doomsday at some point. Probably still taking the drain then. No idea what to do here. Like this is where my lack of experience is just showing clearly. Oh, I didn't fetch for the mana for Zented Swarm. I guess I still keep this, and I want the Thoughtseize as well. My opponent's hand is very good, so Thoughtseize is not at its best. Okay. So I kind of want to Demonic for Gush, even if it means that I might not be able to play this. It gives me the best chance to develop further. So it turns out I don't get to cast either of them. Now they are looking kind of foolish. Duress from my opponent. I'm going to take that, I think. Well, I had the misstep for it, so it was probably a mistake. It's a Simon Godson stream, yes. The rare occurrence of a Simon Godson stream. I could force here. Don't think it's horrible to force. Still think it's better to let it resolve. I didn't play this game well. I see a couple of things that I could have done better. That would have worked out a lot better. Like, I basically wasted my discard spells on stuff that didn't matter. I didn't get to resolve anything I wanted to resolve. I should have been aware of the fact that I wasn't beating my opponent in a long game because his hand was just too powerful. And I didn't even get to get the cards into play that I wanted to get into play. So overall, I can't be happy about this. So here I'm actually just passing the turn. I'm not gushing to set me to 0 lands. It's much better next turn. And I'm very fortunate. Wait, my opponent has a land. Yeah, I'm not that fortunate. Could misstep here. I think that's actually a good use of a misstep. Now that I have the gush, I could mystical for ancestral, which is basically my only real shot at having a chance in the long game, I think. And I have the counter protection. Like, these swarms look so stupid. I'm not doing anything. But with the recall, I can hopefully draw into some fast mana, maybe even a fast bond. I'm very close to... No, I'm not very close. If I had more lands, if my mana had developed better, then I would be close to just firing off a very spectacular will. So the question is if I play around Flusterstorm by gushing first, but that seems stupid, so... If my opponent Flusterstorms this, I think it's a good exchange for me. Well, good exchange, not in the way that not in the sense that I'm happy about it, but it's a fair thing. Yeah, not fetching green is just hurting me so badly. Basically, my whole hand is a mulligan. And I'm just really lucky that my opponent is drawing so badly. I made another mistake here by playing the Mox Sapphire. If my opponent draws a land and just casts deck Faden, I would look even more stupid. Brainstorm Tropical. Yes, please. So... I definitely don't want 2 swarms. I need to resolve the fast bond with help of Xanted Swarm. So I'm going to play the swarm now, the first one. And if that resolves, then I know that I can brainstorm away the other one. And if it doesn't, then I have one for next turn. Drain. Yeah, I'm not gonna repeat how much better I could have played this game. If it wasn't entirely obvious. I'm leaving myself unable to cast Doomsday, unable to cast green spells. I'm giving my opponent potentially the Mox here. No, I was expecting a steal of the Mox. But it's difficult for your opponent to assess how important that is going to be. I mean, I need to find a will here. It's kind of the thing I need to manage. But I think I also need to get fast pawn down. I don't want to give my opponent another turn with this. Horrible, horrible cards. So let's do it like this. I guess the Maniac is pretty bad to keep as well. It's a blue card, but if I exile it, then my... I thought I shuffled that away. Jeez. This is not good magic. Maybe I'm saved by the round time in the modern daily. So I don't know if you've counted the mistakes. So my thoughts on version 4. Well, first of all, I'm not like entirely objective because I am a commentator for Wizards. On the other hand, I think that V4 has a lot of things that it does right and that were very important to be changed. And I also think that V4 is not at the stage it should be, and it's hopefully not at the stage that it's going to end up at. I'm seeing a lot of improvements, a lot of small improvements. Sometimes there's updates that make things worse, but overall, I think that going to a one client solution has already shown its effectiveness. And I'm not saying that because I think it's an awesome program or anything. There is a lot of things with Magic Online that are not as good as they could be, basically. Yeah, for example, like the pop-out graveyard thing is a thing that's definitely should be added at some point, but it doesn't make Magic Online from unplayable for me. It's just, yeah, it would be better if it was different, clearly. Yes. The things that Magic Online does to my computer do not make me happy. Like this streaming, I had to have my bitrate to actually be able to do it, and yeah, there's just a bunch of things that are not good. So my opponent wants to flashback something, and it's mana drain. I'm just gonna force here, because if the Swarm resolves, I get to... I never need to worry about countering again. I'm weaker against Jace now, but yeah. That way, at least, for example, if I draw a Yevmon's Will, then the Swarm pretty much wins me the game. I can understand if somebody says, I don't want to play more than necessary, and I also have whatever Soulforge or Hearthstone as an alternative. The pros still need it for testing, and they still need it for content creation, which is my main reason to play Magic Online, but also because I like it as an alternative to playing in real life. I enjoy a lot of the things that the online online allows, which only online allows, really. I don't think there have been bug-free Magic Online versions yet, and I don't expect that to happen with the complexity of this game being as high as it is. My problem is that I have, like, for example, last time when I watch a Twitch stream of somebody streaming, and I'm playing Magic Online at the same time, sometimes when I pick a card during a draft or when I highlight a card or whatever, I just get stuttering, and that's just really weird for just a regular desktop program. It doesn't feel like something that should happen, really. So I'm still alive, and my opponent somehow didn't do much with with the Yavkmod's will that pretty much did all of this, and I didn't even really look what happened. Somehow we are still there, still here. Okay, so we have the next round of the DE coming up. On the draw, yeah, this hand is a keep on the draw. It's not amazing, but it has a lot of potential. I really like to play against Jund if that's Jund. Anger of the Gods is a bit of a problem on the draw, so I might be forced to play around that. But other than that, with the Nexus here, my hand is looking pretty good. So, game details, drop from this event, and hide this, go to the daily, and show you the chat of this. Isn't this nice? So, I'm being attacked by a Strangleroot, guys. I haven't seen that in a very long time. I actually have no clue what's going on, as always. Which kind of deck plays Strangleroot, guys? Is this kind of some kind of pod deck, maybe? Or just green-white aggro beats? Yes, so Marnet MTGO. That's what I do when I play Magic. When I play Magic Online and watch a stream, and it just ends up lagging down my computer pretty much, which is really, really weird. Okay, a Vault Scourge is a good blocker. I think that my Nexus is lethal next turn, even if I don't pump it with Overseer. Yeah, that should easily be lethal if that ends up happening. And now I think it's actually better to hold back. I could have activated the Overseer already. It's just not super important, I think. Oh, sorry guys, I didn't update the size. You can always tell me if that happens. My opponent with the Reckless Aggression, as expected. Could block with a few more creatures. Like if my Vault Scourge connects, I think I'm winning. I just need to dodge whatever this is, what my opponent plays here. Okay, so now there is the threat of Path to Exile. On the other hand, my opponent is not dealing me any more damage as long as this Overseer is live. So I don't think there is a lot of ways to lose this game. I'm not aware of like every single card in the format, but if the Vault Scourge connects and I pump, well then I'm missing the Nexus damage. I'm on 6, I go up to 9. I think I can risk that. No, I go up to 8 actually. So it's actually safer not to attack with the Vault Scourge. I get the life from the Vault Scourge either way, and that way I think I'm even safer. My opponent's deck is pretty sweet. I like it. It doesn't look like it's good. Like it doesn't look particularly good to me. I'm just scared of Path to Exile now. This attack also makes a lot of sense. It's a 4-power creature. Let's block like this. I hope I'm not being too confident here. But the longer this Overseer lives, the more lethal everything becomes. And if my opponent ever taps out of white, then I just get him. I'm kind of scared of the sideboarded games that might be where my matchup is getting kind of bad. Scavenging Ooze. It's very possible that my opponent is just bluffing something. I think a path would have taken out the Overseer if my opponent had the chance. Don't know why this is done. These are 2/2, 3/3, 6 plus single pest is 8 poison, so I would need to sacrifice the Ravager. And that's not something I'm willing to do. I would have lethal next turn if I don't do anything here. But I can also attack with Volt Scourge without risking anything, now that I have so much protection here, so much defense. I mean, there might be some card I'm missing, like some weird everything becomes huge or it becomes unblockable or something like that. Or main deck Stony Silence, that would also be good. Kasali Pride Mage. Alright. I think it's kind of too late for the Pride Mage. I'm just taking advantage of the fact that my opponent can basically never tap out without me threatening the kill. Yeah, damage on the stack. Would be nice. So now I deal a bit of poison damage and a bit of lifelink damage. I don't really see myself losing this.